Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the Western Alliance Era 2 Premium Medium Tank, the Turm III. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Turm III, it has a much longer name, but I'm never going to try and pronounce that. The Turm III is a absolutely fantastic Era 2 Premium Medium Tank. It's basically like a 30B on steroids, or a Leopard on steroids, actually, to be fair. It's probably more accurate. But the reason I say 30B on steroids is because it takes that leopardy gun with fantastic DPM, fantastic gun handling, fantastic penetration, and then adds a 30mm autocannon akin to something similar to the 30B, but again, on steroids, because the penetration on it is absolutely immense. This tank is absolutely fantastic. It has absolutely no armour, which can be pain at times, and means it gets munched at times too. But generally, it munches everything, because the DPM is so good, the gun handling is so good on the main gun, and then you have such a fantastic autocannon to boot alongside it as well. And you can just do stuff like that, where you absolutely shred ELCs really quickly. Now, you only have 40 rounds in that clip for that 30mm autocannon, but it still means that with the great penetration, you pen a lot of those shells. So with the Turm III, you have a 62.8 km/h top speed, with a 24 km/h reverse speed, a 1000 horsepower engine, which is 23.51 horsepower per ton ratio, which means you fly to 62 quite easily. 10% internal fire chances on the low end of fire chances, and it doesn't get set on fire all too often. 48.13 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed means the tank turns very quickly on its tracks. Ground resistances don't really hold the tank back whatsoever. 586 meters of view range means you can spot for yourself very nicely in the Turm III as well, means you can actually get some decent assistance damage through spotting in Era 2. 47.35 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed is slightly slower than the tracks, so do be careful of that, but that's where you could drop the clutch braking and run something like Deadeye instead to increase your chance of doing module damage with that autocannon. A 0.24 accuracy during rotation is absolutely phenomenal. With a 1.25 accuracy during movement, that is also absolutely fantastic. It means you do not need the gun stabilizer whatsoever, and it means this aim circle doesn't bloom out much at all. And even if it does, you've got a 1.63 second aim time, which means you're ready to go very quickly in this vehicle. You've also got 12 degrees of gun depression, by the way, in this tank, which is absolutely incredible. It means this tank is so flexible on a ridgeline. There is just so much to love about this tank. You've got 0.19 accuracy at 100 meters, which is incredibly accurate. Again, this gun very rarely misses. A lot of the time it's because of your poor aim more than the actual tank itself. Or RNG still going, you miss. You know, RNG still does do that occasionally. You've got a 5.62 second reload, which is 4.9k DPM, which is absolutely fantastic, with 449 penetration on the standard APFS DS round, and 505 penetration on the premium APFS DS round, which means you just never struggle to pen anything. You've also got 250 pen on the HESH rounds as well, which are incredibly good to use, and you want to use those for pure flexibility reasons to increase your DPM even more, as they have 570 alpha as opposed to the 460 of the standard round, with 1455 meters a second shell velocity on the standard APFS DS round, and 1478 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APFS DS round. The shell velocity is great as well on those two rounds, meaning you don't really struggle to hit shots at range with this 105mm gun. Also, 737 meters a second shell velocity on the HE is very slow, so bear in mind if you load the HESH, it will have to have a lot more lead to be able to hit those HE shells. You're a lot better at close range against things like 30Bs and Leopards and stuff like that, and light tanks, to just make your DPM absolutely phenomenal. And then you have that 30mm autocannon, which has a 10.6 second reload for the clip, with 40 shells in the clip, and 145 penetration, meaning that you don't really struggle to pen anything with that clip in the side or rear of tanks, which just makes it a phenomenal damage dealer in conjunction with that 105mm gun. That first game you saw there, by the way, we finished with the 1536 base XP, 10,059 damage, 1745 assistance damage, and that was a game I literally just played in it because I wanted to go get a thumbnail for this video, and we had that before we started recording, so it was like, oh, hello, perfect, fantastic. You know, that's just what this tank can do. Even in that brawly situation, it's not cut out for it because it doesn't have the armor. BZTs munch you, take all your hit points away, that good stuff like that. But you have that sort of phenomenal DPM, that autocannon, which is incredible, where you can just keep damage racking up. And if they're going to hurt you, you're going to certainly hurt them. And if they underestimate your DPM, well, you're just going to make them pay for it, realistically. And it is a glorious, glorious tank, honestly, the Turm. It does have a 150% silver earn rate as well, which is on the lower end of earn rates for Era 2, but it still makes very, very good silver, this Turm 3. It still makes very, very good silver, especially with some of the games you can accomplish in it because of how good that DPM is. You don't want to truly be on the front lines with this thing. You want to be that supporting tank where you're just keeping your damage flowing, supporting the tanks that are taking the hits, and that way you can win the game by just slamming home the damage non-stop in this vehicle. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment on this vehicle? Well, I run a very standard MBT crew. I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, 6th Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Clutch Braking, Rapid Aim, Track Mechanic, with the Advanced Loader, the Vents, and the Ammo Swapper. Ammo Swapper because those HESH rounds are fantastic. You want to use them wherever you can. The Vents to make the best out of the DPM because the DPM is phenomenal on this vehicle and it's just something you want to make king with the Advanced Loader as well. The Rapid Aim to make the turret traverse on this vehicle better so that you can get the gun snapped in on target quicker. The clutch braking just to make the track traverse better, but that can quite easily be dropped for something like Deadeye to be able to make the chance of doing module damage increase by 6% for every shell that you're going to be penning. And since you're penning a lot of rounds in quick succession with the autocannon, it's something you really want to try and do. All 3 gun perks to make sure this gun is as good as humanly possible so that it's always ready to go. We do not need to run the gun stabilizer because of running all 3 gun perks and just how good it is. But with this vehicle having that fantastic accuracy during rotation, and it is so good, you could quite easily drop the snapshot as well for something like clutch braking if you were to drop that, or run armor angling to reduce the amount of damage coming into the tank by 5% because you will be taking hits and things that hit you will be penning you, so you could quite easily run the armor angling instead or something to that effect. Or if you feel like you get set on fire all the time, you could run firefighting, or you could run pain tolerance, or even supply conservation is a good one for being able to get your food back quicker, which means you can increase your DPM even more so in that regard if you were to do that. It's really down to you and how you want to play the tank. There's many, many different ways you can set it up. There's no real right or wrong way. It's just down to you and how you're going to get the most out of the vehicle. So here in this second game here on Westfield, we're already up to 4.5k damage. Probably should have fired HESH there at the Leopard, but to be honest, I just went straight for the penetration, used the autocannon to absolutely eviscerate that guy, and we're up to 6,000 damage. It's one of those things with the Turm 3 that I feel like the autocannon is probably too good. It's probably too good with the vehicle having such a good main cannon as well, because you can just quite easily shred vehicles like we're doing here, and then you can switch to the main cannon, which is also absolutely fantastic. And yeah, the autocannon is definitely absolutely overkill for this vehicle. If it just had the main gun and no autocannon, this tank would still be absolutely incredible. It really would, just because of how good the mobility is, how good the gun handling is, how good the DPM is, and the fantastic penetration with the HESH rounds as well. It'd make it a slightly different Leopard in that regard, but there we go. So we're up to 9,075 damage with 868 assistance damage so far. We've seen the ELC even SS12 in the distance with the T10B, so we're just going to start pummeling shots home into these guys as they are trying to pressure my light tank. We unfortunately missed that ELC even SS12, but then we noticed this guy. It's like, hello, sir. How long have you been here? Well, don't mind if I am. He clearly is AFK, but we're just going to get rid of this guy, push him along, finish him off. Up to 12,036 damage with the 1,243 assistance. One tank left on the enemy team. Shot on the move straight through the drive wheel of that other ELC, even SS12. Get out of the game, Pedro, as he gets tracked and finished off by the 4-2-1-1. Finished the game with the epic victory there. The 3 kills, 12,479 damage, the 1,608 base XP, 642,000 silver in the end there with the ace tank of the high caliber with the 1,608 base XP. A fantastic game there for the Turm 3 on Westfield. And now we're on to the third and final replay of this video, and yet again we're gonna have a Stormer, and it's just what this tank is capable of. If you get it in those support locations, use this fantastic 105mm gun and the 30mm autocannon on it as well to just keep firing and just keep thinking in your head, just keep firing, just keep firing. yeah, your damage just climbs and climbs and climbs and climbs. And I mean, like I said, the autocannon at 30mm on this tank is definitely just too good, because your reload on that clip is fantastic at 10.67 seconds. Your intraclip reload is 0.9 seconds, so it does put out the damage a little bit slower than other vehicles that have that kind of autocannon, but it still fires very, very fast. You've got 145 penetration, which is one of the higher penetration autocannons, especially for a multi-weapon system autocannon as well. Because one of the things that helps the 30B one to be a little bit more balanced is the fact that it will pen light tanks but struggle with pretty much everything else unless you get right into the rear of people. Whereas this one doesn't even have that. You just get up to the side of people and go, lol, I can pen your side very easily and just eviscerate all their hit points. Got fantastic shell velocity as well. It's 1330 meters a second on those shells as well for the autocannon, which is incredible. I mean, you don't have to even give too much lead at distance, as you can see there, with the autocannon to be able to hit those shots. But yeah, the autocannon is definitely, as an additive to the tank, it is what makes this tank so incredible. It just is. So here on Dezful, we've managed to take this middle area. We see the Gao 8 Black Avenger. We get up behind him, use the autocannon, pummel all the shells we can into his back, switch to the Hesh rounds, put the shell in for 526. Now, we weren't going to kill that guy if we fired APF SDS there, because we've only got 460 alpha, whereas if we fire the Hesh or the HE, whatever, 250 pen, easy to go through a lot of vehicles like a Gao 8 Avenger, even in the front, let alone the rear we were shooting there. And you got 570 alpha, which means that, yeah, you would have killed a lot of tanks in that region with that HP. So we managed to get ourselves up to 3.1k damage, and we're just pushing shots into people that are currently unspotted sitting at the back of the map, like this T-72AV. And by the way, if you're wondering why I don't run premium, there's two reasons. Number one, I don't struggle to pen things with 449 pen anyway, so I just don't need the 505 pen. And the other thing is that I use the ammo swapper a lot on this vehicle, so using the ammo swapper can be a bit of a pain if you have 3 shells in the tank, or 3 different types of shells, because it can get a bit mucky when you're trying to load Hesh or then trying to load APF SDS, and you end up loading the premium APF SDS when you think you meant to load Hesh and that sort of thing. It can just get a bit messy, so it's always easier when you're using this sort of ammo swapper just to have 2 shells in the tank, make it easier and less annoying for yourself when you load the wrong round by accident. Skill issue, I know, but it just makes it easier for me. So we're up to 8,000 damage with 279 assistance. Again, the autocannon main cannon combo, that T80 didn't stand a chance. The autocannon pinned him straight to the drive wheel pretty much every time. The main cannon kept him pinned, and the damage just kept flowing. That 8,000 damage so far, we unfortunately missed the shot on that ELC even SS12, but their team is starting to claw some kills back. It's now 11-7. We're still winning, which is fine, but we need to make sure that we're trying to take tanks out the game. So we see the Turm III in the distance, get the shot in, which pens him, get all the autocannon shots in, because we've actually tracked him, but in fact that guy is actually AFK, so we fire the Hesh round in. If we can get rid of this guy, that's great, because again, if he just wakes up, then that'd be a bad time, and we get rid of our Western Alliance compatriot on the enemy team. We're going to go try and see if we can find out where any of the rest of their team is currently, so we're just looking over the ridge to see if the ELC, even SS12, I think that was spotted over here, was down there. And in fact, there's a TR125. I clearly knew he was there. I didn't quite see it while watching this replay, but I clearly knew that that guy was still there. And we actually tracked him in such an unfortunate position for that guy, because we managed to get a load of autocannon shots straight through his drive wheel, penning him a couple of times as well. There's now a Magak 5 in front of us, who we're just going to aim for this cupola. I know I can try and pen that cupola with the autocannon with having the 145 pen, but he does end up putting a shot through us there. Just waiting to see if we can find it, but we missed the shot. The TR125 is actually pushing out a little bit more aggressively, so you know what? Instead of keep poking over and taking shots from the Magak, I'm going to switch my fire to this TR125 and see if I can catch him out, which he is around the corner. Oh, perfect tracking shot as well, which keeps him pinned. Hopefully we can actually permatrack this guy as well, and we retrack him, because it's always the best thing to do is go for those drive wheels, because you never know when you can permatrack someone like that guy there, or you can just keep them pinned, and if your teammates get to shoot them, they'll also feed you some tracking assist. We're up to 13,587 damage with 791 assist so far. Still 5 tanks left on the enemy team. The Magak 5 from early is pushed out. I want to go attack this guy, and 12 degrees gun depression is going to make it easier, but I also don't want to get caught out from a shot from someone at the back. But now he's pushed out, we actually bounce there, but we use the autocannon to pick up the kill on that Magak 5, because again, 145 pen is easily going to go through the side of Mr. Magak, making an easy pick-up there. Still the 4 tanks left on the enemy team. No idea where they are. We need to make sure we don't have a driving fail, because that section there has killed me many, many times. Thankfully, just get the RBRT snap there into the TR-125 to shut him down. But again, that's because the gun handling on this vehicle is so good. That the accuracy during movement and rotation being so good means the aim circle doesn't bloom out much at all, because that is the accuracy during movement and rotation is what affects how big the aim circle will be when you are moving and turning the tank. And if those are really low, sometimes it doesn't even matter if you've got a terrible aim time, because, well, you don't need to aim in as much if your aim circle doesn't bloom out, right? And this tank having that fantastic accuracy during movement and rotation means that no matter how much you snap a shot, a lot of the time you're fully aimed anyway. So you can snap those sorts of shots. I mean, that's as big as the aim circle ever gets while you're on the move that you've just seen there. And it takes 1.63 seconds to actually aim that in if we had to stop, which is nothing at all. And, yeah, the tank is, yeah, just absolutely bonkers. It really is. I do think it is an absolutely immense vehicle, with the only downside to it being the fact that it's got no armour. But it's not really much of a downside when you can do as much damage and deal as much damage as this thing can do as well. So we finished the game with the victory, the 8 kills, 14,585 damage, 791 assistance damage, the Ace Tanker, the Frost Heroes Medal, the High Caliber, the Top Gun, the Sniper, 1,983 base XP, an absolutely amazing game there for the Turm 3, which is just an absolutely phenomenal era to Western Alliance Premium Medium Tank. It really is. It's just absolutely incredible. Probably too good, to be perfectly honest. It just is, because of the damage capacity of it, but there we go. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!